What I'd like to do is begin with your opening statements. Candidate Donkey, you have 1 minute for your opening statement. For 2 minutes. 2 minutes for your opening statement. Sorry, we want to keep you out there.
Yeah. I want to just say that I never win the lottery, and here I win the lottery tonight. So I want to thank the League of Women Voters. I know why you were formed. Ever since you were formed, we've had really elections in Roselle done right. So I want to compliment you on that. Thanks for having us. You know, I've been serving on the board since 2011. Previous to that, I had 11 years on the Park District, did a few things. I can go over these things rather quickly, but there's so many things that I've been involved in. I think that you should just basically go to my website, my Facebook or my email, and you can learn all of the things that I've done. Pool referendum went through, Miracle Field went through, thanks to some work with Rob Burns, and the Garden Club, Roberta and I started. So those are the things at the Park District we kind of got involved in, and we reopened the Kemmerling Pool. In the village, we closed the TIF, and we bought land that the IPK was able to buy. And so that's why we have a nice business there. We suffered through and financed the Emerald Ash Borer remediation program, saving 600 trees. We fought successfully against ComEd. We added row houses on Irving. We added row houses on North Prospect. And we are in the process, and the exciting process, why I want to still be on the board, is the Metro 19 project, the biggest one ever in Roselle. Presently, we're fighting the railroad. It's not proper what they're trying to do, and we're gonna try to win that one like the ComEd one, although the decision's very soon. So the reason I want to run is I'm excited to be one more term for sure. I want to see these other projects come to fruition and our municipal campus plan come forward too. The Donkeys have invested in Roselle. We have 3 properties, and I got to say, one of them's got Happy Bite chocolate, so we're real proud of that one. So, and my daughter's fine arts class, and I got to stop because the sign went up.
Candidate Trejo, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Thank you. Just want to thank the league for hosting this event for everyone to get to know us a little bit more. So my name is Lee A. Trejo. I'm a member of the Roselle community, a lifelong member. So I was born in 1978. I live with my wife Iris and my 2 kids on the west side of town. So I grew up on the east side of town. I attended Spring Hills, Roselle Middle, and Lake Park. Backing up before Spring Hills, I was actually at preschool at the Scout Lodge, and the first day of class I ditched. My mom dropped me off, and I walked across the street, went back to the house, and rang the doorbell. I have a bachelor's and master's degree from Northern Illinois University in criminology with a minor in Latino Latin American Studies. I'm currently doing an MBA at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and I work professionally as a senior manager for a Fortune 100 company. I do a lot of community service, so I'm on the board of DUCAP, which is DuPage County Area Project, where we seek to serve kids to keep them out of trouble. I was also formerly an advisory board member of Stepping Stones here in Roselle for women with domestic violence. And just some key accomplishments on the board. I think one thing with me is I think I bring diversity to the board. So as far as I know, I'm the only person of Hispanic descent that's on the board, and that's a growing segment of the Roselle population. It's about 8.4% of the population. I'm also currently the only member of the board of trustees, so the 6 trustees that has young kids. And I think that's important because at the beginning of the school year, when I was dropping my kids off, I noticed that our school signage was lacking, and I let the police department and public works know, and they did a comprehensive review of that and determined that there was a lot of speed signs missing. So we got all that taken care of before the school year started. So with that, thank you to the league again, and I look forward to hearing your questions.
Thank you. Candidate Brookshire, your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you. And I also would like to thank the league and for everyone who stayed. See some people, so thank you for that. I've been a resident of Roselle for over 20 years. I actually have had an official capacity with the village since 2004. I started as a zoning board of appeals commissioner. I then was a zoning board commissioner, and now for the last 8 years, a village trustee. Throughout my tenure, we've done a lot of things within the village. We focused initially when I started on redefining Main Street and looking for opportunities for growth in there. And we now have pretty much most of the businesses that we were looking for. We also have now starting to focus on additional business growth outside of just Main Street with the Lake Street Corridor, working with DuPage County and other municipalities nearby. We're also looking to stay in being responsible financially, as well as looking for other additional community growth, such as Metro 19, as Wayne had mentioned. I'm also a part of the village as one of the committee men for the Finance Committee and also the Annex Committee. There, we have actually done quite a bit. We have reworked our fund balances such that we can have a more balanced budget while maintaining the project work we need to have done, as well as we've leveraged these reserves as a means to help pay off the police and pension board, and looking at that as a way to reduce some financial risk to the village. With the annexation, we've actually waived $300,000 of interest to residents, making it easier for them to actually become incorporated into the village, as well as we reduce some of the administrative costs for the village for doing so. Outside of the village, I'm also part of the Flags of Roselle, Bloomingdale Chamber of Commerce, and also I regularly participate in the Habitat of Humanity for the DuPage area.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from candidate Forsythe.
Hi, good evening. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event and giving everyone a chance to hear from all the candidates. I would also like to thank the League for allowing me to be here remotely. My husband and I welcomed our third child late December, and I really appreciate the League accommodating my daughter in my this time. I'm looking to bring a fresh voice to the village board. I'm a lifelong resident of the area. I graduated from Lake Park High School. I commuted my last 2 years at Amherst University, and now my husband and I are raising our 3 children here. Roselle has a great tradition of community involvement, and I feel a big part of it, or I helped out when I can. Currently, I'm serving as a Roselle Library trustee. I'm a member of the Bloomingdale Township Mental Health Board. I'm a Rotarian for the Bloomingdale-Roselle Rotary, and a friend of the I volunteer at many estates of Roselle, and also always am in the women's parade. I really care about this town, and I believe it's important that I do my part. Having served as library trustee, I think that the village needs a little bit more communication between its local governments to better serve its residents. This is my home. I love Roselle, and my goal is to maintain Roselle's small town feel while also preparing us for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I just would like to remind the audience that you have the ability to ask questions during the forum. You can just raise your hand and a card and writing implement will be brought to you, and the questions will be added to the ones that are currently submitted. So, to get on with the questions, candidate Trejo, the first question will be for you. Why are you running for village board? You have 1 minute.
Continuing to run for village board because I love Roselle, I love my community. I think I'm a great advocate for Roselle. I'll tell you a quick story. My wife's originally from California, so if I convince someone from California to move to Illinois and live in Roselle, I think I'm a pretty good salesman of Roselle. But no, I just like to work with the community, with Mayor Pulaski on definitely moving things forward. I think, he's named me to a couple important committees, so selecting the new village attorney, as well as selecting the new police chief. So I'm one of the trustees in charge of that, and also I was the only trustee on the selection of the new attorney. So yeah, like I said, just really want to do right by the residents and be a representative of everybody in Roselle.
Thank you, candidate Berkshire. So why are you running for village trustee?
Thank you. So, being a tenured trustee, I still see that there's still work that has to be done in the village, and that work is what I want to continue to work towards completing as part of the new trustee term. I also believe that there is value in providing the additional leadership that I can from my experiences in the private sector. Some of the things that we'll be working on and dealing with, I have a familiarization with. So from that, I think me being that tenured trustee along with some of my experiences in leadership will be a valuable asset to the village again.
Candidate Forsythe, why are you running for village trustee?
Yeah, I think that Roselle has a great tradition of community involvement, and I am so happy to be a part of it. I think this is the reason why I would also like to take this step to becoming a village trustee. Having served as a library trustee, I think that the communication and collaboration between our local governments can be better increased. I think that we need to do this to be more effective across the board. One example would be that our library and village use different contractors for their snow removal. So I think that these small, little things like snow removal streamlines can all maybe work together and communicate and maybe lower those bills. That's what we can do in the future by, working with the Park District Department and also the library.
Thank you. And now, candidate Duffy, why are you running for village trustee?
So I'm running, I am excited. I'm an older generation person who looks at the young generation and wants to do things in their behalf. I understand that they're going to assume the world, but I want to work with them and make it happen. I was not born in Roselle like others, but I came here voluntarily. And I voluntarily want to stay on the board because we have so many things going on. And with David being the mayor, I have to say that it's a joy working with him. He's got a vision that I think we can all kind of adopt, which we have done. It's exciting, it's transparent, it's inclusive, and we live stream the meetings now. These are things that are going on. We're doing all the right things. So because of it, and basically the board, we really work very well together. So I want to be on that, and I want to continue to bring my experience and my knowledge to the members. We've gone through austerity since I've been on the board. I know how to go through things because I've served in an apprenticeship, and I want to give that back to Roselle.
Thank you. Candidate Berkshire, the next question will begin with you. What are the biggest strengths of the village, and why do you think so?
I would say that our biggest strength is our village staff. Working with them over these years, these individuals are committed, and I'm just proud to be working with them. They are dedicated to making the village great, and so we are there to help support them as trustees, and it's an honor to do so with that. They have worked through various items, but we also are there to help provide some of that leadership. And one example was in working through some of the financial situations and making sure that we have that stability. And then making sure we have that balanced budget throughout. So that is the staff and the collaboration amongst the trustees and the other village partners is where the strength is.
Candidate Forsyth, what are the biggest strengths of the village, and why do you think so?
I think that our first strength is that we have a long-standing tradition of being fiscally responsible. We have had a balanced budget for the past 8 years, and we have reserves that can cover over 50% of our expenditures. Another thing that is a strength of the village is that we're always at the cutting edge of public safety. We're integrating body cameras. We're one of the first to integrate body cameras, police cameras, and then also drones. The last, I think, is our community involvement. Roselle sent over 131 letters in opposition of the CP railway closure, and also 27 residents wrote personal testimony in opposition of it. I just think that when Roselle is against something, we all band together and we show what we mean by we don't want this. I think having a Lions Club, a League of Women Voters, a food pantry, a sister cities, I think all of us work together so well, and we love our town.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, I don't know that you can see the time limit, Candidate Forsyth, but your time is up. Candidate Duncan?
Well, certainly the staff that Bruce brought up is very important because together with the board, we've budgeted and we've made the budget for every year that I've been on the board. I think one of the strengths of Roselle is that we really manage our finances really well. We're not highly bonded, and we have money in reserve. and we're using it wisely. Do we do everything for everybody all the time? No, we can't. We don't have that money. But the fact that we're solvent and we've been through a lot of trying times that way, that's one of the strengths. And I got to say, the other strength of it is the Roselle residents. Because when you guys get to tell us what you want, and I know a few out there who have some issues with us, bring it forward, because we don't like to have board meetings in the dark. So come and bring it to us. We're your representatives. And that's one of the strengths. And also, we get along like nobody in Springfield has ever seen. So that's a strength.
Candidate Trejo.
Thank you. I think the number one thing, the biggest strength is our residents, our community. So, just thinking back to the ComEd, where we fought ComEd, we're a town of 23,000 people. We have a small village border. We invite people to talk about it, right? And to our delight, we have to go to Lake Park West and talk in the auditorium because there's 300 people there to push back. We have people who start organizations like Flat for Roselle, right? A hometown governor award-winning program right here in Roselle, 23,000 people. We have Food Pantry that was started up. And we really work collaboratively across the area with other municipalities. We band together with Schaumburg, Elk Grove, Hanover Park to really push back on this freight train merger. We're pushing back with them. We support, the Suburban O'Hare Commission to fight that airport noise, even though it doesn't affect us as much as it does Elk Grove, for example. They have our backs. When we have an issue with ComEd, they come to our backs because they know that we have theirs.
Thank you. The next question is going to begin with Candidate Forsythe. Candidate Forsythe, what are one or two of the biggest challenges facing the village currently? And what are some of your solutions?
Yeah. So currently, I think the most important expenditure that we're going to have to tackle is that the Illinois EPA issued more stringent requirements on removal of our nitrogen and phosphorus from our wastewater. I think this is one of the most important things that we need to focus on, and we're going to need to work together, or the board is going to need to work together to find new revenues and opportunities to address the generational challenge. I also believe that some of the residents have talked about the sinkholes in their yards, and due to aging infrastructure, we're going to need to update our infrastructure and help these people out. So I believe we need to maintain balance and balance is key to maintain a strong budgetary position on these two issues. Thank you.
Candidate Dunkey.
So for sure the infrastructure is going to be the big one. That's $100 million coming our way. David's going to have some open forums where the residents can come out and give us some ideas of what they think. That's one of the biggest ones. The local government distribution funds, we've been shortchanged from Springfield for years. That's another one. The other one I can think of is that with gas-powered vehicles going down and electric coming on, there'll be less money for roads the way that they have the tax structure set up. So I think those are a couple of threats from Roselle. Certainly what Dina was saying about flooding, sidewalks too. These sidewalks, if we're going to have a downtown, we have to have a pathway for people to walk over there, especially from Metro 19. So, that's another challenge, is to start thinking of ourselves a little differently than we have in the past. So those are the challenges I see going forward.
Thank you. Candidate Trejo, what are one or two of the biggest challenges facing the village currently, and what are some of your solutions?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, obviously the infrastructure, with what was alluded to earlier on the wastewater piece of it, with close to $90 million in infrastructure that needs to be done. One other thing, though, that I'm really, interested in is just our recovery from the ash borer. I think we need to make sure that we are laser focused on making sure that we get a diversity in species of trees and make sure that we have a good amount of trees in Roselle. I think it's very important for the quality of life in Roselle. And then, I think the other thing is just our municipal campus. That's going to be another big challenge there as we execute on that comprehensive plan in that area.
Thank you. Just a reminder to the audience that questions must be addressed to all candidates, and that the league does not allow for candidates to be addressed individually during the forum. So moving on to the next question, Candidate Donkey. What efforts would you support, if any, to address affordable workforce housing in Roselle?
To address what?
Affordable workforce housing, affordable housing in Roselle.
Well, we're kind of market-driven, I guess, is the way it's going. We do have a couple properties in Roselle that we're looking at developers for. I don't think we really have a plan for affordable housing in Roselle, to be honest with you. That might be something that we should put on the docket to start discussing. Certainly, there's a lot of people that want to live in Roselle. There is some housing that's lower income housing that exists already. But honestly and truly, I don't think we have a plan, to be honest with you.
Thank you. Candidate Trejo.
Yeah, like Wayne said, I'm not totally familiar with this concept. I mean, obviously, formally from a government perspective, I think it's something we could look into. I think we do have the diversity in options for people across income spectrums. There's one-bedroom condos, there's townhomes, there's we're building a Metro 19, which is a little bit more higher end, but still lower than typical mortgage payments. But yeah, it's something to look into more.
Candidate Berkshire.
I would reiterate everything that was said. We don't have a plan. It's not been something that's come up. And I think mainly because of the fact that most of the residents here have some of the lower income houses. We do have some apartments and the like, but most of the stuff is, as we said, is new development. And so they have a price range that they're trying to make in order to make them ends meet. So it is something that can always be looked at. There's a strong need for such a thing. And as Leah had mentioned, we do have with Metro 19, it is going to be some condos, but they will be somewhat on the more affordable range. But that's probably all we have.
Thank you. Candidate Forsythe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the board will need to address affordable housing, and they'll have to they would have to discuss it at a board meeting. I think that we do need to, again, build up our infrastructure and look at ways to bring residents into our local businesses, but at the same time, I think bringing people in who can afford housing is a big issue, and like everyone else said, other trustees, I believe, we would need to discuss how we can do this.
Thank you. Candidate Trejo, this question will begin with you. Please share one or two aspects of the Municipal Plaza Pedal Promenade and Porch project that you feel are the most important for the village to undertake. I'll repeat it one more time. Please share one or two aspects of the Municipal Plaza Pedal Promenade and Porch project that you feel are the most important for the village to undertake.
So I think the most important is the sparkle lot in the fountain area. The fountain is definitely in disarray, and the sparkle lot is falling apart. So I think those are the two that we critically need to execute on.
Candidate Berkshire.
I've reiterated again that the fountain is in way more, will cost us more than it actually will be to actually implement the pedal project that we're looking at. And in order for that to be a connected component to it, then looking at how we're going to bring in more residents to that area, and then how we would connect that up into the library and actually make that more of a municipal campus of open green space to allow for different concerts, engagements, and the like. We had something there over the summer, and we could then simply expand from that.
Candidate Forsythe.
Can you please repeat the question?
Sure. Please share one or two aspects of the Municipal Plaza Pedal Promenade and Porch project that you feel are the most important for the village to undertake.
Yeah, sure. I believe that the fountain and the pedal promenade are extremely important. I think it would bring in more businesses into our area, meaning we can host more events. If we have more of a green space, then we don't need to shut down Main Street to have a taste of Roselle. I think that the pedal promenade is a good, first step in maybe a redevelopment of that area. I hope to see what else the board decide on with this municipal complex. And I think it would bring in not only our residents, but also local residents from other communities to Roselle, and that's a good thing.
Thank you. Candidate Donkey, your thoughts?
Yeah, the whole project is about community and getting together and having a common area to meet. It's kind of the same thing with the library, doing the same thing, making it more of a community place to gather. We did prioritize it as the pedal porch first and then the promenade possibly second. We just approved engineering study for those 2 phases. This could go through without the library's finished product, but it also would be better if the library did have a finished product, whatever that product is going to be. So, and it will also be, let's call it a destination in Roselle, which is something that we always think of other towns like Schaumburg or Bloomingdale, but we're looking at making it a destination. And to David's point, let's make no small plans. He plagiarized that from something.
The next question will begin with you, Candidate Burchard. What ideas do you have for local efficiencies and intergovernmental sharing to reduce costs?
Well, some of the things that we've talked about is we simply are working together with the Park District, for example, looking at what we're going to do with Turner Pond, so how we can both together solve the, what I'll call the overflow problem. And so we work with them. We've actually started more of a community engagement, and David, as mayor, has started reaching out to some of these other boards and bringing them in as a community so that we can look for opportunities for that. We don't have all of it, but we can definitely work together to help them.
Candidate Forsythe, the same question.
Yeah, can you just repeat it one more time?
Pardon me?
Can you please repeat the question?
What ideas do you have for local efficiencies and intergovernmental sharing to reduce costs?
Yeah, I mean, one example that I brought up is that I was on the library board and we use different contractors for snow removal. I think that if all the boards can, somehow communicate and maybe cut costs where it's not necessary to have different contractors doing the same job on the same place. That would be one area that we could streamline, and I think it would actually cut costs, especially if we can do this with a lot of what's going on with each of our departments.
Thank you. Candidate Donkey.
Well, obviously working together, economies of scale. You have the Park District, and we do some lawn mowing with them, and there's some snow plowing. We interact with each other already. Do we do it to the max? I don't know. But to Bruce's point, if David has some plans, we should probably start working on them. Like I wanted to say again, the downtown Roselle only happened because there was an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Roselle and the Park District. And if they wouldn't have had that retention area over where the Miracle Field is, then they wouldn't have had a retention area enough to build the downtown Roselle. So again, intergovernmental agreements are key. And I think as taxpayers, we should almost expect and demand that to happen. But anyway, David's a great guy for looking into things like this, so I would assume this will bring that question up to the board.
Candidate Trejo, your thoughts?
I think just to reiterate what they said, man, intergovernmental agreements is key, but I also think that you can't just focus on only on the cost side, you have to look at the benefits, right? So in Roselle, we looked at, we joined the West Suburban Firefighting Alliance. So we're in an alliance with a bunch of different towns that can respond to Roselle. They're all in the same radio language, they train together. So that's definitely a benefit to Roselle that doesn't cost us any more money. Let's look at the Sheriff's Department with DuPage Merit. When there's a major crime, we get departments from all over. So if you remember back, a couple years ago off in Picton, we had police departments from all over the area helping us investigate that. So that saves us tons of money. I mean, that investigation is in the millions of dollars. So the fact that we're part of this group just helps us, keep our costs in check.
The next question will begin with Candidate Forsythe. What, if any, changes do you recommend to the current process for making nominations and appointments to municipal boards and commissions?
Yeah, I would need to discuss that with staff regarding how we would do that process. I am not an incumbent, so unfortunately I'm not extremely versed on that subject, and I would need to work with the board and see how that process would work.
Thank you. Candidate Dumpke,
Can you repeat that question, please?
what, if any, changes do you recommend to the current process for making nominations and appointments to municipal boards and commissions?
I only know that the way it's done now is people who have done things in Roselle have served some kind of a apprenticeship and been active in the community are the ones that are basically asked to be on a committee or something. And it's also voluntary. They don't have to say yes. And in fact, like the planning and zoning board, that was pretty much restructured based on our needs, and it was also restructured on the people that wanted to do it. So I think, you know, if you want to be part of something, and I think we're pretty cool at the way we're doing it, we're giving people who already are worker bees a chance to continue on. So I don't know how to improve that any better.
Candidate Trejo,
So I think we've taken action on this. I know earlier we had a vacancy on the board of trustees, and I don't think that position was well publicized to the public to get candidates. And then I think when we had the village clerk opening, I think we did a lot better job of soliciting candidates from the public. You know, ultimately it's the mayor's nomination to make, and with the advice and consent of the board. So I think David did a good job with the clerk appointment by getting Trustee Delapenna involved, as well as outgoing clerk Burns, to kind of make sure that we had someone there that could fulfill those duties. So I really don't think at this point there's much else to do. I think we've executed on that, and that's.
okay, Candidate Berkshire, your thoughts?
First, I would want to understand where the question is coming from in terms of what they see as a challenge or a problem. Because right now, I believe we have a system in place that is working. One of the challenges we have as a village is actually people too want to volunteer. And so having some of those nominations is simply as a result of people who we have engaged with and worked with in the past in order to get them to volunteer. Then we go through as Lee mentioned, a process where the mayor will vet them, review them with the board, and ultimately make that selection. When it came to some of the staffing pieces, we did engage a lot more when it came to the village clerk replacement. So that is something also that I thought was working in the way that we were able to find something.
Thank you. The next question will begin with Candidate Dumpke. And the question is, what do you feel is the board's role in public safety for the village?
Well, of course, public safety starts with police. I was the one that kind of initiated the idea of cameras on cops. The union was pretty cool with the idea, and we put it in place in Roselle 3.5 years before it became mandated. And that keeps the police force honest, and it keeps the residents confident that the police force is doing their job, and they really do their job. So that was one. Of course, safety is so important. Obviously, no one wants these problems of the city to come out here. So I think interacting with the police the way we do as a team is something that a lot of communities that suffer from crime don't have. So that's one. And of course, I've always voted in favor of trying to give the tools to the police department or the fire department, because you know, we're going to need each one of those groups. So yeah, safety is like ultimate. Certainly for Chicago, it's on their top agenda, but for us, it's right there next to it. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Candidate Trejo.
So yeah, public safety is the #1 role of municipal government. You know, we responded with Airbnb regulations after that shooting on Picton. And actually, early on in my tenure as trustee, I proposed the safe exchange zones. If you go to the police department, there are cameras in the parking lot where you could do internet transactions or in-person transactions from the internet. Like I said earlier, I proposed the additional school zone signage, and also proposed a police Facebook page. So really just making sure that we're interacting with the public, I think, is critical for a public safety view. I think funding the police department, funding the fire department is very important. I'm definitely pro law enforcement, pro police. I'm proud to say that I have been recommended by the Polish American
giving it back to the fire department, we were one of the ones that voted on and received one of those automatic resuscitators, so that this way it will actually free up the fire department's personnel while they're actually having help save some people. We've worked through a variety of things for the heroin addiction, heroin overdoses. We have all of the appropriate supplies of that. We supplied that with the fire department as well. And we're currently looking at various solutions to how to improve and increase our candidacy for the police department, because that is a very tight market right now to actually get police officers on set.
Thank you. Candidate Forsythe, what do you feel is the board's role in public safety in the village?
Yeah, I think that we are one of the first to integrate a lot of public safety initiatives. As I had stated before, I mean, we were one of the first to integrate body cameras, license plate readers, and drones. I also think that the police department has done a great job with applying for grants from the mental health board to allow for social workers to be on staff. These social workers can give a little softer touch than police can. They are an essential part of our village, the police department is, and I believe that that Roselle just needs to continue doing what it does for its police department and work for us. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will begin with candidate Donkey. What can the village do to increase the walkability of your town?
Well, we can take care of our sidewalks, that's for sure. Well, you know, we're trying to get some grants for some money to get a walkway over Irving Park Road, which would, in theory, bring more foot traffic to the Main Street commercial area. I think we have our bike lanes, but I think we could probably do a better job of marking those again. It's another budget item that we have to put forward. I think nowadays maybe having, maybe we could have some bike rentals or something, but, and certainly put bike racks in downtown Roselle area so they can park. One of our residents suggested to me that maybe if we did better on that, we wouldn't have a parking problem. Well, it's a possibility, right? So, yeah, we could do more on that, and maybe I'll start riding my bike again if I see that in place.
Candidate Trejo?
Yeah, just to reiterate, we did put in for a grant that is a pedestrian bridge over the bridge, the train bridge over Irving Park Road. So that's one obvious way to make it more walkable. I think the other way is to really increase density in the downtown area. So with the Metro 19, obviously there'll be more people there that could walk to local establishments, and I think that will help build the downtown area, and I think that will draw people to the downtown area more, and then there'll be more people that will be walking around and enjoying Roselle.
Candidate Berkshire?
So when, as part of the community, development, one of the things was the strategic goal that we're actually now, as both candidates have been talked about, is that bridge. But we also have a whole layout made out for Irving Park Road, and how to then continue that foot traffic through there, because that is a challenge. We also, when we worked on the Rottenberg redevelopment, there's a wetland area. And one of the things we had proposed and wanted to make sure is that there's a connection between Roselle and Schaumburg, because that area right there, there's no walking path. So those are things that was part of actually their development initiative. So we look for those types of things and opportunities we can have. And then we do have a comprehensive sidewalk replacement program that we do to try and maintain what we have as walkways today.
Candidate Forsythe?
Yes. As these three gentlemen mentioned, there are grants that we can target, and this can be a focus for us, for the board, I'm so sorry. The best way to do it is to prioritize it. I think it would be put on the agenda. We have a great downtown area, and we should make it easy for people to walk around down there, and for residents also to access it. I think that would just be something for me to explore. Well, thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is your last question. And the question is this, and it will begin with candidate Berkshire. What is your commitment to protecting the environment at the local level?
Well, we recently joined a And then strictly, we have a variety of recycling capabilities that we have in the village. Over Christmas time, we recycle the lights, and then we have other opportunities such as that.
Candidate Forsythe,
Can you just repeat it one more time, the question?
what is your commitment to protecting the environment at the local level?
I'm so sorry, you cut out for a second.
What is your commitment to protecting the environment at the local level?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I believe that we need to see to, the village to, work together to, create this, and, I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear the question. Can you please repeat it?
Sure. What is your commitment what is your commitment to protecting the environment at the local level? And I think we're typing it in the text for you. If you look at your...
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay.
Got it. All right.
What is your commitment to protecting the environment at the local level? I sincerely apologize. The board just adopted the Greenest Region Compact thanks to the League of Women Voters. And then we also had Earth Day and the Earth Club. We also have a Green Roselle, which is something that a lot of other communities do not have. This is great. Organizations that go down and they pick up garbage, and I think that the environment is extremely important to us. I think that, being a part of these organizations and allowing them to be in Roselle and having our residents create organizations is just so unique.
Thank you.
And, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Dumpy.
Hey, we all do our parts. I will say that the very first Earth Day, me and my one-year-old son went and cleaned up a forest preserve in River Grove. So I was all about, conservation even back then. So I like my recyclable garbage outweighs my regular garbage 2 to 1. I do occasionally visit the Roselle Green Committee. The Bachfest parade and party that we're going to have at Pollyanna, everything's going to be recyclable. Hopefully we can have containers there that are segregated, garbage and recyclable. We're trying in our little pieces what we can do, okay? But it's a big effort. I have almost everything electric at home, except my car and my snowblower, because I can't get a good electric snowblower yet. But everything else is electric, so I'm doing my part, everybody else has to do their part. And I sometimes am appalled at how many people don't recycle and how many municipalities don't. And here in Roselle, I don't even know if we do segregate all our garbage. So I think I'm going to have to ask the guy Roselle Green about that question.
Thank you. Candidate Trago.
So there's 2 things that we only have one of, and environment's one of them. So obviously we definitely have to maintain that commitment to the environment. I spoke earlier about the ash board and, planting additional trees and making sure that we reforest Roselle. I think that's critically important. I do not want to lose sight of that, given with the other infrastructure challenges that we have. We need to make sure that that's a priority. And we cannot have that happen again, where we have, an over-index of certain species of trees that just get decimated. The other thing that we have done is we've done Roselle Recycles, where we have a big event at the train station where people could drive in and bring their recyclables there. So I think it's very important to support initiatives like that. And also, again, like community groups, Green Roselle, Greenest Region Compact. I think those things are very important to demonstrate our level of commitment to the environment.
Thank you. Well, it's now time for closing statements. Candidate Forsythe, you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for this again and for hosting this event. I hope I've earned some of your trust here tonight. I hope that you can see how much I love this town and how much I have helped out, and hopefully that I will be repicked on April 4th. Thank you.
Candidate Donkey, you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Yeah, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for this. This is an awesome thing to be able to talk to people about our candidacy. We've had a good board. I appreciate working with these 2 guys. I want to be elected one more term for sure, because I want to be able to see these things come to fruition that we've got in the pipeline. And I also, at that case, at that point, if it's necessary to hand it off to the next generation. But I've always loved Roselle, I love my chances here, and I want to give back as much as I can in the next 4 years to the things that we have developed. And I have to say too, the leadership that we have at the mayoral level is very helpful. And that's, I just say, vote for me in April 4th, and I'll give my best, as I always will. Bye.
Candidate Trego, your 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you. So again, thank you to the league for hosting this. I would like to, obviously continue my service to the village that I love and the village that I grew up in. I think just leveraging my abilities to help the village, I think is critically important. I think one thing, one thing I really truly like to be is a representative of the people. So one of the examples I'll give is that referendum on the marijuana. So I voted no personally at the ballot box, but I voted yes because that's what the residents wanted. So to me, it's about making sure that I serve the people based on what they are asking for. So anytime we have a direct, referendum that says do this, I'm going to vote for that way. So take, for example, the library. There's the concept for the library. Once it comes to planning and zoning, if that passes, my full commitment is to execute what the voters approved. So that is my commitment to the Village of Roselle residents.
Thank you. Candidate Berkshire, your 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank everyone for this opportunity. As I kind of look forward to being a trustee for the next 4 years, I just see there's a lot of need for my particular skill set, especially as we work towards and have to deal with maintaining a reliable infrastructure. With what's going to be coming up in terms of projects and the magnitude of those projects, we're going to need to have some creative solutions so that we're not impacting the residents of Roselle. And so with that, working together with the board and with the staff to come through with those reliable solutions, I think I can help in that manner. And I think that it's just a matter of the work that I have done in the past is what I want to continue working on and maintaining what we have started and making sure that that gets completed.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking the candidates for being here. And thank you all for attending. Our democracy thrives when all of us are engaged. Attending or watching a forum is a great way for you to empower yourself to make an informed decision on Election Day. We hope that you will make the time to vote and encourage your family, friends, and neighbors to do the same, so that all will express their preferences by voting for the candidates of their choice on April 4th, or at early voting sites, or by mail-in voting. So thank you so much, and good night. Drive safely.